In the summer of 2015, I did a J1 in America. So I worked at a very small summer camp up in Maine. And I absolutely loved it. I would say it was the making of me. And I worked in the office, whereas a lot of the other people my age, they were counsellors and they worked with the kids. And this was fine. I loved working in the office, except when my time off clashed with their time off, or I didn't have the same time off. And there was one week in particular that this was going to be an issue. So a lot of my friends had all day on Saturday off, and I was due to work. And one of the other counsellors, she had a holiday home on like a nearby lake, and everyone was going, and everyone was talking about, well, so it felt to me, and this was the event of the summer. But I was working, so I went into the office and I asked if I could change my day off, or maybe even work earlier in the day, but no such luck. So I was due to finish work at 6 o'clock, and I said, hey, I'll go in the evening anyway. So my roommate, she was a nurse at the camp, so she also had unusual time off, and she was from America, and she had a car, a little Volkswagen Beetle that she was very generous in letting people use. So I asked her if she would mind if I borrowed her car. She said that was fine. Before I went to America, the Camp America people told me it would be good to get an American SIM card, and I decided this week to put it into my phone. I had been using the camp Wi-Fi, so I hadn't really needed it, but I decided I should probably use it if I had it. So I put the SIM card in my phone. It seemed to be working that week, and then on the Saturday, I went to work, finished at 6, got into the Volkswagen Beetle, loaded the directions on my phone, and set off. So I had driven this car before, and I had been to this house that I was going to before, but I'd never driven there on my own. It's about a 45-minute drive, and I'm 20 minutes in, and I've taken a wrong turn. So I look at my phone, and the SIM card's not working. There's no internet. I can't call or text anyone. And I feel like iPhones now are like more clever. Like if your internet gets disconnected, the iPhone still knows where you are. The iPhone didn't know where I was. I didn't know where I was. And I was at this big like triangle junction, like over a river. And I was driving round. I had been here before, I recognized it, but I didn't know where to go or where I had come from. And I'm driving round, and I'm like, is there anyone that could help me? Is there anything I recognize? And I see this like big house, like really large house, and there's like 6 or 7 cars parked outside. And I'm like, okay, maybe that's some sort of like B&B. And I drive around again, and I'm like, yeah, I think that's the best option. So I park up. I'm currently 28, and I have been mistaken as 16 twice in the last few weeks. So you can only imagine how young I looked back then. Like weird Irish accent in the middle of nowhere in Maine. And I was like, if these people want to kidnap me, like no problem, I am gone. So I'm walking up to the door, and I am crapping myself. And I don't even know what I would have like said back then. I wouldn't have been particularly good at like communicating. But I get into the house, and it's not a B&B. It's like a family with like grown-up kids. And a lot of the kids are at the table playing a board game, and the dad is in the living room. He seems a bit grumpy. And the mum, she's kind of coordinating it. Where are you going? Where are you got to go to? Where are you, like back and forth between the two. And like they could have just loaded the directions on my phone or told me where to go. But in their like extreme kindness, they got in their car and they drove to the party, and I drove behind them in my car. And I have never been so relieved to be at a party in my whole life. And I was dying to tell everyone that what had happened, but they've all been there all day, drinking all day, and nobody cared. And sure, it wasn't even worth going to after all of this hassle that I'd gone to get there. So the rest of the summer continued. I maybe had my wits about me a bit more. I got my SIM card to work, and the day came to go home. So I flew from Boston to New York to Belfast by myself. And the flight from Boston to New York was delayed. So in New York airport, my dad smokes. So if you ever go on holiday, you have to buy my dad cigarettes in the airport. So the flight's like, I don't have that much time, I'm rushing, get to the cigarette counter, yeah, 800 cigarettes, please. No problem, in my bag, rushing to the gate. And I wouldn't even have thought back then about like when to eat, or, you know, I feel like I always have an emergency banana with me now, like I just wasn't like that back then. Get on the airplane, take a sleeping tablet. Well, I chat to the lady beside me for a few minutes, take a sleeping tablet and fall asleep for the whole flight. I wake up about 45 minutes before we're due to land. I'm like, oh, I'm not feeling great. And just so happened that there was like an air steward coming down the aisle and giving out croissants. I was like, oh yeah, great, I'll have a croissant, please. And I'm eating the croissant, I'm like, oh, I'm not feeling good. And the lady beside me, she's like, are you okay? I was like, I think I might faint. Well, they are ushered up out of their seats. I am laid down across the 3 seats. An announcement goes out over the tannoy. Are there any medical professionals on board? So this lovely doctor comes and he's chatting to me, and while he's chatting to me, this air steward arrives with an oxygen tank. Now, after I had laid down and the croissant's starting to kick in, I feel fine, but no. I went through 2 oxygen tanks on the airplane. And I can see everyone like in the cracks of the seat, like looking to see what's going on. I'm like, oh. But anyway, the doctor says, yeah, okay, you're fine now. Get sat up. And the 2 people come back to their seat, and an announcement goes out over the tannoy. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for flying with us. We're going to be landing in 10 minutes. Da, 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 da. When we land, please stay seated because there's been a medical emergency. I was like, is that me? So yes, we land and someone comes to get me. That is me. So I've been traveling all day. I've got this big bun on my head. I've been asleep for 5 hours. And my suitcase had been too heavy, so I've got like 3 backpacks on my back with the cigarettes. I have to like trudge down the aisle of the plane. Everyone's looking at me. And I get to the steps to get off the plane, and there's 2 policemen standing at the bottom of the steps. I'm like, are they here to search my bag? But no, they're here to escort me to an ambulance that has been called. And once I'm okayed with the ambulance people, they escort me into the luggage centre where people are coming up saying, are you okay, love? Are you all right, pet? I'm like, can the ground swallow me up now? But I was eventually reunited with my family. But I think there was a real lesson for me this summer. Like, here I was, that was my first time away for an extended period by myself, and I thought I knew everything, and I thought I could do anything, and I can neither drive a car or get in an airplane without the above and beyond help of strangers. And I think that was a lesson to me to not be too big for my boots, but also to look for strangers around me who might need help from me. Thank you.